I'm Dane Rose, and in this video I'd like to share 7 steps, 7 choices that, from my perspective, would bring concept synergy closer into alignment with the material that it publishes. Number 1, to commit to and start giving $100 a month per year worked at Concept Synergy for past employees. Concept Synergy paid below market wages, asked more of, and at times abused its staff while failing to provide for old age in the context of publishing materials on abundance, and a little decency towards past employees would go a long way. Number 2, in this paradigm of infinite abundance, etc., that Lazaris produces, while Concept Synergy has marked up crystals 1,000% and sold them to Lazaris friends, they haven't created a wealth sharing and growing program. And rather than, hide in the scarcity of, we don't have enough money and, we couldn't possibly take care of our employees, why not actually create an abundance paradigm where any Lazaris past or current employee or any friend of Lazaris can refer the material to other people in their lives and in the world and receive a 10% dividend for the lifetime of that customer relationship for all purchases made. In this way, people that bring in 10 new clients to Concept Synergy grow Concept Synergy's profit margin enormously, because in an information technology, it's all about volume. It costs Concept Synergy almost nothing to stream material or sell a digital download. And so the profit margins have never been higher, not in CDs, not in books, not in tapes. This is a golden age of profit. What's needed is more clients. Now, if the creator of universes and the highest resonance to ever touch humankind cannot partner with a monopoly publisher to create an abundance of wealth, there's something way more wrong with the material, and it should probably, be stopped, because there's no logical reason for that when so many other publishers are making more money selling crappy material. So start a 10% referral program where you refer a name, that person becomes a client, and every single purchase of that client for the history of the client becomes a dividend to the person referring. Third, make all of the material available on Audible and other convenient platforms as a friend would. Friendship is about convenience and connecting with others where they are. The Audible platform, aside from having health benefits, meaning cellular technology causes pain in my hands, so I keep my phone in airplane mode 90% of the time. And I listen to Audible books with 1,000% more grace and benefit to health than I do the Lazaris material. Transfer all of the Audible titles or all of the Lazaris titles to Audible, and give people choice, give people freedom, break the stranglehold. And if concept synergy would like to retain its control and monopoly, look at the description below in the links and look at the app technology that would actually be superior to Audible. Embody the material on excellence produced by Lazaris and Concept Synergy and create something better than what's out there rather than subpar with the current subcontract to a rather ineffective audio platform. Lazaris needs to address the things that are interesting and interested, that Lazaris friends are interested in. It is outlandish, in my view, that Lazaris has spent 45 years talking about Lemuria and Atlantis and Shining Ones, but less than a few minutes talking about the bizarre discrepancy of his close friend Penny North and Michael North dying within 24 hours in a context where Lazaris promotes more conscious, graceful deaths and suggests, as in the case of John Lennon, that there's something very wrong with these gruesome and horrendous deaths being reframed as spiritual events, the way Lazaris has done. This is just one of many unanswered questions. And while I don't think Lazaris should be compelled to do something they don't want to do, at least an explanation about why we're not going to listen at all to the friends of Lazaris. I think that a 5-hour interview, a 10-hour interview, an entire weekend spent asking and answering the most upvoted questions. There's now platforms of software out there where anyone can ask a question and anyone reading that question can say, yeah, I want that answer too, and those get upvoted. Now, amongst all of the thousands of workshops Lazaris has done, couldn't we have one workshop that's actually a direct response and dialogue with the human beings there, as opposed to yet another monologue? Going through question after question based on which ones have, one, never been answered, and two, are the most upvoted by the current and past community. Because this dominance of communication control coupled with failure and confusion has led to a shedding of community members. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people who once were interested in the Lazaris material are not. And that may well be because a question of theirs, a confusion of theirs, was not addressed and could not be addressed. Again, creating more of this scarcity mentality rather than opening up. So this is a really key thing to address, particularly before Lazaris vanishes after 45 or 50 years, etc., without ever addressing basic things that basic people want to know. I've submitted, I think, more than 30 questions to Lazaris, and I don't think he's answered a single one of them in the upcoming book of, the Community Questions book. What kind of a relationship is it when Lazaris unilaterally decides when and how much he will answer questions, and then cherry picks the questions and ignores everyone else? It's not really a relationship as much of a domination. Take it or leave it. This is the way it is. 6, make a clear commitment that purchasing and streaming the Lazaris material in any form outside of a workshop or forum is available to everyone. No questions asked. None of this, we're going to investigate you, and if you said something bad about Lazaris, we're not going to let you buy the material, and all of this control dynamic. I can see there needs to be some boundaries in a forum and in a workshop. If people are screaming questions out to Lazaris in a workshop and won't wait, well, first of all, it points to the need for Lazaris to actually answer and address people so they don't have to do that rather than monologue. But secondly, there does need to be some boundary when it affects other people. But for concept synergy to assert that it is the monopoly distributor of the most important spiritual information on the planet, and that it's going to cut people off who don't agree with them and who don't curtail their rights of free speech, is a profound expression of domination and needs to stop. One of the most important things that is responsible and friendly is to gather and share statistical information about the positive and negative impacts on people's lives that correlate with the Lazaris material. When we go to a pharmacy and are deciding whether or not to buy and consume arsenic, what we want to know is the statistical likelihood of harm or death based on consumption. When we're buying vitamin C, when we're trying a brand out on Amazon, what we want to know is how well has this product worked? Has this experience worked for these things, for these types of people? And in order to gather that, we have a scientific method of correlating based on statistical response. 100% of the people who drank arsenic are dead. It's useful information. 100% of the people who took a vitamin C tablet were still alive an hour after taking those tablets. And some of them experienced this and some of them experienced this. People who put magnets on their body, 26% reduced some sense of pain. We want to know the statistical data, the probability field that we're dealing with. Now, Lazaris has dispensed medical advice without a license. Lazaris has given thousands of hours of monologue. Lazaris has given hundreds upon hundreds of techniques. And yet we have no probability field due to the willful ignorance of both Lazaris and concept synergy tolerated by the Lazaris community. That basically, if I say, how many people had a noticeable benefit from doing the inner child work? Do we know? Is it purely anecdotal? Do we want to know? Have we even asked? It's free to ask, and it's free to publish that information. And if teenagers, including teenagers in highly abusive households, are going to be told that they create their own reality, and then told by psychologists, as I was, that this was a matter of profound psychological abuse, and if that demographic, maybe 1%, maybe 5%, in engaging with the Lazaris material, are damaged, do they have the right to know? Does a parent have a right to understand that statistic? Does concept synergy and Lazaris give a damn? Because Lazaris could ask for a show of hands all the time to let the room understand how different people experience the material, etc., and what the impact is. Lazaris never has. Plenty of people do it. Scientists do it, not Lazaris. Concept synergy can send a detailed email and publish it. No edits. People who love Lazaris, people who have mixed feelings about it, people who hate Lazaris, doesn't matter. All the people who have interacted in some way with Lazaris without editing, without censorship, without control. This is the probability field that we're dealing with. And you can create different correlations. If you ask enough questions, you can say, what's the statistical probability field that Lazaris will be a healthy contribution to your life if you were sexually abused? Well, we know. We've asked the question, how many people have been sexually abused? How many people have worked with Lazaris who have sexually abused? And how many of those have been benefited? How many of those have felt shamed? What is the probability field that shame will go up if you're a Lazaris friend versus if you're not? What if you're in this category or in this category? Do men relate more to Lazaris than women because Lazaris has chosen yet another male body to flush out the male-dominated leadership circle around the world of religious and spiritual techniques? Almost no women. Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, Lazaris, Jach Pursel. Let's just make sure that everyone important is male. Well, how does that affect the women? We don't know because nobody's asking. And I think it would be a magnificent contribution to take a step forward in this direction.